Alright guys, this is Critter Gitter here. I know it's been a while since I've done a video, but here I am and I'm going to do this video. I'm going to do a tour of all my animals and talk about them and everything. If you guys got any questions, post on there in the comments and I'll let you know. So these guys, this is my tortoise table here that I made. This is Lulu, my Russian tortoise, and this is Jebs, my sulcata tortoise. So the reason he's called Jebs is because I got him from a friend that makes choke tubes for shotguns, and it's called Jebs choke tubes. So he found him wandering in his yard in Georgia, and then he sent him to me. So I got him from there, and he hasn't grown much. I think that maybe he didn't get enough nutrients and stuff, and that's why his shell's kind of like that stuff, I think. If anybody knows, let me know. So these are she's a sulcata tortoise. They're from Africa. They're pretty endangered over there. A lot of people kill them for their shells and meat and stuff. But yeah, she'll get about 200 pounds. My Lulu mom, she's gonna bite you. So she'll get about 200 pounds. They eat greens and all kinds of stuff. They like squash, zucchini, all kinds of stuff like that. So now we'll move on to Lulu, my Russian tortoise. I got her about 3 or 4 years ago. That's as big as they get. They're from like Pakistan, places like that. The reason they're called the Russian tortoise is because back in the day when the Russians were over there, they took them home for pets for their kids and stuff. So that's why they're called Russian tortoises. That's as big as she'll get. She's like a bulldozer. She'll eat your fingers. She eats everything. She's a little stinker. She's a bulldozer. She eats everything. She eats the same thing as Jebs does. So that's Timothy hay as their substrate there too. So, all right, we'll move on to the next critter. I guess we'll move on to my gargoyle gecko. I'm not gonna get him out. He's not very nice. See if I can find him. I'm not quite sure where he is. We'll show him in another video because I don't feel like getting bit right now. Alright, this is Slash, my Leopard gecko. So this here is a gecko from New Caledonia. And there's 4 different species on the island. There's the Leopard, the gargoyle gecko, and the crested gecko. And then there's another one. I can't think of what the name is. But this is the world's largest gecko. You get probably twice the size as this. They eat Pangea, like it's like a mix of like fruits and bugs and stuff, and they just lick it up like ketchup pretty much. This stuff here. Yeah, when I got him, he was probably about that long. So she's gotten really big. I should say it's a girl, I'm sorry. But I got her from my friend at the pet store for Christmas. He breeds them. So yeah, pretty cool. They feel really weird too. They feel like a velvet-like feeling. Let's get a look at their eyes. They're really cool. Just the color. And you can see on the cork part here that she's on. I mean, she blends in pretty well. Okay guys, so that noise you guys were hearing was my mister going off from my Jackson's chameleon I have. Her name's Coda. It means friend in Indian. And I got a live palm tree in here. Me and my grandpa and my dad actually built this whole enclosure. And I got her probably a year or so ago. And she actually had babies not too long ago. Like, she had 32 live babies, and I came in here to feed her, and I thought they were little crickets. They were so tiny. And I had to set up an enclosure for them, and I tried to keep them alive as much as I could, but she's hard enough to take care of and keep alive, let alone the babies, so they didn't last very long, but That's a fact of life, I guess, but still sucks. But yeah, that's Coda. She's a Jackson's chameleon. They're from Kenya in the mountains area and stuff. They love crickets, any bug that they can fit in their mouth. They stick their tongue out way far, like way farther than their own body. They got a prehensile tail. Their hands are like gloves, so they can grab onto the branches real good. And actually, the reason why it mists her is not just to keep the humidity up. It's because they don't recognize water if it's not moving or dripping onto the leaves or something. So they lick the water off the leaves. Because if you just put a water dish in there, they don't recognize it as water. And another reason you got the screen cage is because when they see glass, they think they can go through it. And they just run into it like crazy. But with the screen, they can see it as a barrier. So yeah, got that live plant in there. I'll show you the misting system down here. It's called the Mist King. This here runs into the bucket, and then there's a valve that runs from the bucket, and then there's two up there that it sprays out from. It's on a timer and everything. And then I got a heat lamp and a UVB up there, light, strip light. So. Oops. Alright guys, we'll go to the next animal. Alright, we'll do Pumpkin for next. So Pumpkin, she's a bearded dragon. So the pet store I got the Leopard Gecko from. Somebody brought her in and she has MBD, which is called metabolic bone diseases if they don't get enough calcium or UVB light. And somebody brought them in, and Pet Fanatics, the store that I got them from, they just wanted her to go to a good home, so they just said to take her. So she's doing a lot better than before. She could barely walk. She actually chases down crickets and stuff now. We used to have to hand feed her. But yeah, apparently she had no UVB her whole life. And I don't know how old she is, but she's a really pretty good girl. She's real pretty, orange, she's great. So we're just trying to keep her as healthy as possible. So the bearded dragons are from Australia. And out in the outback, they'll eat anything they can fit in their mouths. Mice, bugs, birds, lizards, other lizards, everything. But yeah, they like to climb sometimes and everything. They love basking in that hot sun. So there's two different types. There's the Eastern, and then I can't remember what the other one is. But there's a couple different types. So, that's her. Now we'll move on to the Critter Geckos. They're from New Caledonia as well. This one's the female here. I can't reach them all the way up there. That's the female. What do we name?
Rose.
Rose, yeah, that's right. Rose, this is Rose, our little girl. So they eat the same thing as the Lechianus. This is full grown right here. So they don't get near as big, but they're still really pretty. They were actually thought to be extinct at one point, and they were rediscovered. But they're very common in captivity now. Not as common as on the islands, but they're still pretty common in captivity now. And then this is the boy. This is Axel. And if you can't tell, I like rock and roll, so that's why I named him after that. Yeah, he's a pretty boy. He's my first baby I ever hatched from my first pair that I have. So he's paired up with her, and hopefully we'll get some eggs out of them, but we haven't yet. But yeah, they can't blink, so they lick their eyes when they itch or if they want to clean them and stuff. Got a prehensile tail. Yeah, they got sticky feet. They can walk up the wall and glass and stuff like that. What do they eat? They eat the same. They eat the same thing as the Lechianus, though, the Pangea. Yeah, I really want to do bioactive enclosures on all of them, but I just haven't got to do that yet. All right, so we'll go to my leopard geckos. I had one not too long ago. My first one that I ever had, she passed away recently. But this is Sweet Pea. She's the first one I've ever raised from a baby. She's a Max Snow Leopard Gecko. And I forgot to mention on the crested geckos that when they lose their tails, they don't grow back, but these guys do. And the reason their tails are so fat is because they store fat in their tails. So if they haven't ate for a while, their fat goes into them so they can stay alive. So these guys are from Afghanistan, Pakistan area like that in the desert. But yeah, they eat bugs, everything. Anything they can fit in their mouth, just like every lizard. So yeah, that's her. And I have 2 more in here. Oh, girls. And they are all girls that I have. This one's not gonna hold still very well, but I'm not really sure what kind it is. Oh, he wants to bite me. He was just labeled at the pet store as a sorted leopard gecko, so I thought he was cool and I got him. I mean, I don't really care what kind of leopard geckos they are. They're just leopard geckos. They're all the same to me. I just thought he looked cool. So yeah. He doesn't have a name, so if you guys want to think of a name for her, put it in the comments. I got her as a tiny little baby as well. And same with this other one. This one doesn't have a name either, so drop it in the comments if you want to help me name him. Or her, I should say. But yeah, this one's, I think, a carrot tail, and I don't really know. I just, it's just a leopard gecko. I'm not into all that morphs and stuff. I don't really care. But yeah, she's really pretty. Raised her as a tiny baby as well. So yeah, there was a male with them at one point, and they bred, but didn't really work out well. So, I've never gotten any eggs from them at all. These are my other crested geckos. There's one in here, right there. Who is that? That's King. This is the female that was that's the one that gave birth to the other one that I sunk. And there's a big hissing cockroach in there that cleans up after him. He hisses if you touch it. He's not hissing, I'm touching him, but he's not doing nothing.
He's spiking up.
No, he's not. You see him? Yeah, there he is. Hey, buddy.
Can you get him? I'm gonna help you.
I just don't want him to get mad at me. This is Spike. He's the male. Beautiful guy. I just got him at a reptile show. He has a patternless red. Really big. This is a big crested gecko here. I mean, an absolute huge one. So yeah, that's as big as they get usually. But yeah, they've had several eggs together. Or babies. Come here, bud. I'm gonna put him back. There, bud. Try to keep their enclosures as natural as possible, except for my beard dragons. It's just easier to clean because they make a mess all the time. So yeah, and then I'll show you the eggs that I have. I have 2 eggs from them right now in the incubator. Or incubating, I should say. You don't have to put these guys in an incubator.
Explain to them how to do that.
So what I do is I take the Pangea hatch, put not as much as is in there right there, and just make sure it's fully moist and all mixed together and moist. And you take 2 divots, you pick them up, you don't turn them or anything, just leave them exactly how they are. Pick them up and put them in those divots and just make sure it stays moist, and you can see moisture on the bottom of it. And then if they're good, they should hatch. You can see how fat they are, so they're doing great.
How long do they take?
Takes about 3 months, 3 months. Depending, it just all depends. Sometimes they'll hatch early, sometimes they'll hatch late. Just all depends. I go to blue now. This is my blue iguana, xanthic blue iguana. She's shedding right now, but yeah, she's beautiful. These guys are from South America, and they eat green, lots of leaves and stuff, and really anything they can eat. They'll eat eggs every so often. Berries. She loves blueberries. That's her favorite. That's why we called her Blue. And from Jurassic World, dinosaur. But yeah, these guys are from like South America, Amazon, everything. So if they're sitting in a tree and a predator comes to get them, they'll jump in the water and swim down underneath the water to get away from them. And they have sharp claws for climbing trees. She scratches you a lot if you pick her up, but she's not trying to do it on purpose. Her claws are just so sharp. And she's got a tail to whip. She can whip it like a whip. It hurts too. I've been hit with it a few times. But that's to get rid of predators too. They can drop their tail also. But yeah. They got pretty strong bites because they eat greens and they gotta tear through all that stuff. Yeah. She has a big old doolab and stuff. So actually, right here, that's her ear. So reptiles do have ears. You know, they're just really small. So she can hear that. You tapping her, she can hear that. And then this is just part of her jaw muscle. It's a jowl, just so a strong jaw. That's why they're so strong, because they got that big old muscle in there on both sides. We'll go to the next guys, some more bearded dragons. I'm not going to talk where they're from and stuff, because I already did, but this is Conrad, and this is Peaches. Been trying to get them to breed, but I haven't been successful yet. I've had them for about a year or two, and they just, I don't know, they can't seem to figure it out. I had some eggs from them not too long ago, and I tried to incubate them, but they weren't any good. But yeah, I got Conrad. He was tiny. I mean, he was probably that big, this boy here. And what, in the year, he was huge. So he's a very big bearded dragon. He's so sweet too. He's got that little overbite. He's so funny. He's all dopey. He's my little guy though. And then this is Peaches. She's pretty sweet too. Not as sweet as Conrad, but she's still really sweet. Yeah, she's laid several clutches of eggs, but just none of them have been good or fertile or anything, so yeah. Good girl. So, alright, we'll go to my blue-tongued skink now. I have one. And this is the incubator I use. It's the Exoterra one that I incubate in.